In this video, we'll be taking our polymodeling skills even further than before, giving you all the baseline skills you will need to create basic polymodeled assets in Blender. We'll also be revising the look of our key, settling in and creating the final mesh we'll use for the game. As for UV mapping, I've decided it would be best to give that its own video, so we'll focus on higher level polymodeling techniques for this one. Alright, hey, welcome back. In the last video, I went over quite a few methods, and hopefully by now you've got the baseline kind of stuff down, like grabbing, rotating, and scaling. We're going to move on to some that are more, let's say, technical. They require a bit more thorough knowledge, and this is why I'm giving them their own video. So, first let's talk about the relationship between objects and meshes. Meshes are the name I give to things that are inside of an object. Objects are like little entity groups in Trench Broom. If you hit Shift A, which is the button to add a new mesh, you'll see that you can add a UV sphere into this, exit edit mode, and they are both in the same object. This still says cube, but there is a a sphere, and a cube in this group. So if we re-enter this group and delete this, so we if you've unselected this, you can hover over it and hit L, and it'll select linked. So we just delete that. Yeah, so the way we would do this to get our own object in this of a circle is to leave the object, open mesh, and then add a circle. And you won't see it right now because it's inside of the this square. But you can activate the X-ray to see through that, and then we can change all of the little values on this circle. So let's make it a little bit larger. Size really doesn't matter, as opposed to what they would tell you. And then you can change your vertices to something like 16. This is more appropriate to Quake. Let's exit this group. Now, I've made it a circle to show the relationship that there is between a circle and a square in terms of snapping. So snapping is something I haven't shown yet, but up here you can see there is a little magnet icon, and if you click this, you will see that when you begin to move an object, it will snap. Now, to me, this is the least useful. The least useful snapping, and the one that is more useful here is vertex. I almost never use increment here. So the reason that vertex is good is what will be shown right now. So if we enter object mode on this cube, and let's say for whatever reason we had moved this cube down, but we wanted this cube to be level with this circle, and if we go into an orthographic view by holding tilde and then selecting an orthographic, you can see that it is nowhere near. This line here is the circle, and it is just, we can't like exactly get it on, bang on. So what are we going to do? Well, we've got vertex on, and we've got the snapping on. So let's read through this. It is going to snap to vertex, the closest vertex on your model, and then it'll affect move. So if we then press G and we hover over the circle, you can see that if we hover over a circle's vertice, it'll snap the square to the circle. It's all jumping around, but you get the point. So how are we going to do this just for the Z-axis? Well, if you've learned anything from this tutorial series, it's that pressing the axis keys is extremely useful. So if we just hit G, Z, and then hover over one of these, the closest vertex group on the Z-axis will be, the closest vertex on the Z-axis will be snapped to this one, and that means the height in this case. We can do the same with the bottom, so if we bring this up, so we've got the closest vertexes are on the bottom towards this edge. This vertex, let's hit G, Z, see it's pulled down. Now this is extremely useful for a few reasons. I'm going to go a bit fast here, just to show something. We A-select this, extrude, deselect the extrude, scale this in, go to face selection mode and alt-click this edge. extrude this up, turn on backface culling. I forgot to. Yep, I'll go to the right side in. And now, let's say if I've rotated this, and I wanted to make this the stem for this right now. So if we go down, it is a little bit off center right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the vertex menu. So we're going to snap a vertex to closest right now. However, I want to snap a edge center with the center of the model that I am currently grabbing. So let's enter edit mode. Let's move this on the x-axis. Let's move it to the middle of this edge. And as you can see, it's done what it says on the tin. It's moved it to this middle edge here. And there's several different settings you can do. So there are edges. So if you just needed to sit on the edge, should probably activate X-ray. You can see that it is sliding across the edges and not landing on faces in the center. Same thing with faces. This is good if you need to pin something against each other. So you're kind of like pinning it down on this model. No matter where you put it, it'll always stick down onto the model by the center anchor point. This can work with everything. So say for whatever reason we want this edge to be in the center of this vertex, of this edge here. So we will hit G, we'll just move it across so it's the closest. We'll just put it there. Now I hope you can understand how powerful this is across all of Blender. So what we're doing right now is we are basically manipulating our shapes into being in a better position for merging these objects later. So objects can be in the same group as each other as before. So if I wanted to say, if I created this as a stem, this is obviously a very, very simple key looking thing. So we'll just click on this object. So we've got cube selected. We will shift click on this. We've got circle selected as well. We'll hit Control J. And there we go. It's all one model now. And this means that we get all of the benefits of being a single mesh. So we can, if we really wanted to, we could tie these together. We could like link their faces now. They are no longer separate. So let's do some dumb things. Let's let's snap the closest vertex to the vertex. See, very dumb things you can do with that. And I like to use these circles and squares as like a basic way to kind of feel out how my model is going to look at the end. So as you can see, you can probably guess where I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to zoom in here, maybe go into the orthographic view, which is tilde. Go to the left orthographic, X-ray, just delete these edges. Oh, and to get different selection modes, you can hit W, and up here in the left-hand corner, if you just hold this and move away, you can see select box, select circle, and select lasso. These are all your different selection types. And you can go through them by pressing W. So if you ever end up with this thing, and you don't want this brush as your collection, you want to box select, make sure you press W until you see the box select icon up in the corner here. So I'm going to delete these faces. And here's something else I may not have shown already. So we need to fill in these faces here with a polygon because they're currently open. This can be good sometimes. Say if we had this on top of itself, on top of this, you wouldn't need a face inside here because the player is never going to see it. So that's a reason why you wouldn't want it, but we do in this case. So we'll just click on two of these edges and we will press F. F for fill. F will fill in any faces with polygons. This also works with things like vertices. So if you click on two vertices, you hit F, it'll fill it with an edge. So if we want to say connect this by a line up the top, we can delete these two faces because they will be inside of the edge and they won't be needed. So we'll just build out this and then connect up all of the faces here with a polygon. Now that looks, for lack of a better term, ugly. So we're going to revert all of these changes. We're going to add those edges in again. And now I'm going to just try and make a new base for this model. So get creative with it. I'm going to let you roam free now. And I will join you when I've got something that looks a little bit more representable. All right, there we go. I think I'm happy with this one. It's basic, but the thing to remember is that Quake is a very low poly game, right? Especially keys. They really didn't have much budget at the time, so fitting your key into the aesthetic of Quake should be as easy as kind of making a few shapes, and then in the texture you will feel out some of the details. So I feel like maybe I could add like a trim across here in the texture. Same thing in here. I could add like some nice highlights and all of this kind of stuff. Some carvings down the middle. Yeah, it's always worth remembering that keeping it simple and keeping it kind of like an iconic look is better than the alternative. All right, I hope you enjoyed this one. This was a bit of a different style, but I'm trying to encourage you to be a little bit more open with how you learn with this. Experimentation is key, and you will always fail in the beginning, but that shouldn't stop you from having fun. If you have any issues, make sure to let me know in the description and I will try and help. Yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. Next video, we'll be getting to the dreaded UV mapping. It's not as bad as everyone thinks it is. Okay, bye.